Here's a question, and I need you to actually answer it, not just think about the right answer, but notice your gut reaction. Ready? Someone offers you a choice. You can have $100 right now, or $200 if you wait 30 days. Which do you pick? Most people say they'd wait. Of course they would. Doubling your money in a month is objectively the smarter move. Financially, there's no debate. But here's what's interesting. When researchers actually run this experiment, not as a hypothetical, but with real money on the table, a stunning number of people choose the $100 today, even when they know the other option is better, even when they can do the math in their head. And the people who consistently choose to wait, they tend to have higher savings rates, lower debt, and over time, significantly more wealth. This isn't a coincidence, it's a pattern, and it reveals something about the way your brain is actually wired around money, not the way you think it's wired. Because here's the thing, most people don't realize your relationship with money isn't really about money. It's about time and comfort and a very ancient part of your brain that was never designed for the financial world you're living in today. Let me explain what I mean. Back in the 1960s, a psychologist at Stanford named Walter Mischel ran an experiment with young children. He sat each child in a room alone with a single marshmallow on a table. Then he told them, if you can wait 15 minutes without eating it, you'll get 2 marshmallows when I come back. Then he left the room. Some kids ate the marshmallow almost immediately. Others squirmed and struggled but held out. A few barely even looked at it. What made the study famous wasn't the experiment itself, it was the follow-up. Decades later, the researchers tracked those same kids into adulthood, and the ones who waited, the ones who resisted the immediate reward, had better academic outcomes, lower rates of addiction, healthier relationships, and significantly more wealth. 1 marshmallow, 30 years of difference. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's just about willpower. But that's where most people get this completely wrong. Because it's not about willpower at all. Here's the part that almost nobody talks about. When the researchers dug deeper, they found something that changed the entire interpretation of the experiment. The kids who couldn't wait, the ones who ate the marshmallow right away, many of them came from unstable environments, places where adults didn't always follow through, where promises got broken, where later often meant never. They weren't failing a willpower test, they were passing a survival test. Their brain had learned take what you can get when you can get it because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And here's where this connects directly to your bank account. Because that same survival logic, that same take it now before it disappears wiring, it doesn't stay in childhood, it follows you. It shows up as impulsive purchases, as lifestyle inflation every time you get a raise, as the feeling that saving money is somehow pointless, even though you logically know it isn't. Your brain isn't broken, it's just running old software in a new world. Think about the last time you got a paycheck, or a bonus, or even just a little unexpected cash. What was your first instinct? Not what you did with it, what did you feel in the first 30 seconds? Because there's a telling difference between the person who feels immediate relief and thinks, what can I do with this? And the person who almost automatically files it away, already planning 3 months ahead. Most people experience the first version and assume that's just how they are, that some people are naturally good with money and others aren't, that it's personality. But psychology tells a completely different story. There's a concept called temporal discounting. It sounds technical, but the idea is beautifully simple. Every human brain devalues future rewards. The further away something is in time, the less real it feels to us emotionally, even if intellectually we know it matters. So when you imagine yourself at 65 with a pension or a retirement account or financial freedom, that person doesn't feel real to you. Brain scans actually show that when people think about their future selves, the neural activity looks similar to thinking about a stranger. You are literally a different person to your own brain. And that stranger's future, it's easy to sacrifice for the comfort of right now. This is why someone can genuinely want to save money, make a budget, commit to change, and still find themselves 3 weeks later wondering where it all went. It's not laziness, it's not a lack of discipline. It's a built-in psychological feature that was designed to prioritize today over someday. And in the modern financial world, that feature costs you thousands of dollars every single year. But here's the strange part. The gap between the people who build wealth and the people who stay stuck isn't intelligence, it's not even income. There are people making six figures who live paycheck to paycheck, and people making 30,000 a year who quietly accumulate wealth over decades. The real gap is a single mental shift. And the test at the beginning of this video, it's designed to reveal whether you've made it. It's not about whether you chose $100 or $200. It's about your first gut reaction, that split-second reaction before logic kicked in. Because that instinct is your money brain speaking. And your money brain was shaped by everything: your childhood, what you watched your parents do with money, every time you felt financially unsafe, every time abundance felt temporary. It was shaped long before you had any control over it. But, and this is where it gets genuinely interesting, the brain is not fixed. There was a follow-up version of the marshmallow experiment. Same setup, same children, but this time before the test, some of the children were given a different experience. Researchers made them a small promise, a promise the researchers actually kept. And those kids, they waited significantly longer. It wasn't willpower that changed, it was trust. When the brain believed the future reward was real, when it had evidence that delayed gratification actually paid off, it could hold on. Think about what that means for you. If your brain has learned through experience that saving money doesn't really change anything, that financial security always feels one emergency away, then of course it gravitates towards spending now. Of course it defaults to comfort in the present. Your brain isn't broken, it's being consistent with what it believes to be true. This is why advice like just stop spending or be more disciplined misses the point entirely. You can't willpower your way out of a deeply held belief. You can only replace it with a new experience. So what does that actually look like? The shift starts with something almost embarrassingly small. Not a major financial overhaul, not a strict budget that makes you feel deprived, but one small proof point that your future self is real, that delayed gratification actually works. Maybe it's a savings account you don't touch. Maybe it's 1 month where you track where the money went and you don't judge yourself, you just notice. Because here's what happens when you do that. Your brain updates. Slowly, imperfectly, but it updates. It starts to believe that the future reward is coming, that it can trust the wait. And when that belief shifts, even slightly, the behavior shifts with it. Not through force, through evidence. The people who seem effortlessly good with money aren't disciplined robots. They've just had enough experiences, or they've created enough experiences, where delayed gratification paid off. Their money brain trusts the wait. Once you start seeing it this way, something changes. You stop judging yourself for every impulsive purchase. You stop feeling like you're broken. You start asking a different question. Not why can't I control myself, but what does my brain actually believe about money and where did it come from? And that question, that's the real test. Not whether you'd take $100 or $200, but whether you're willing to look honestly at the wiring underneath your decisions. Because the moment you understand why your brain does what it does with money, the moment it stops feeling mysterious and shameful, that's when the actual change becomes possible. Not through punishment, through awareness. Go back to that original question, the $100 now or $200 in 30 days. Your gut answer hasn't changed, but maybe now you understand it a little better. Maybe now it feels less like a character flaw and more like a pattern. And patterns, unlike character, can be rewritten. That's the difference between the people who stay financially stuck and the people who quietly build something real. Not intelligence, not income, not luck. Just a different relationship with their own brain. And once you understand how that wiring works, you start seeing it everywhere. Not just in spending, but in why certain financial fears take root so deeply they feel like identity. That's exactly what I go deeper on in this video, because the fear itself is doing more financial damage than most people ever realize.